Good morning. It is Rachel again from Infused Meadows, and I have a day. I've already made the granola this morning, which the video should be up. And tonight's dinner is spaghetti and garlic bread. So I thought I would show you how I make my spaghetti sauce, and then I'll do a video showing you how I make my garlic pull-apart bread. In case anybody likes it or is interested in knowing how to make it themselves, and they can try it and go from there. To everyone in America, including my family, happy Thanksgiving. Unfortunately, I can't be there. I would love to. I miss y'all. Love y'all. And I hope everyone has a wonderful and fantastic Thanksgiving together and be able to celebrate all that you're thankful for. Okay. So, on to the recipe. To this small bowl, I'm going to go ahead and add my spices that I'm going to be adding to my tomatoes. So this is my tomato. This was whole tomatoes, which I've pureed down into a sauce. 28 ounces is what you want for this. You'll also want 1 cup, or I do 1.5 cups, of finely chopped onion. And then I add 2.5 tablespoons of finely diced garlic. I like mine as a garlic, onion, basil spaghetti sauce. Anywho, alright, so we're going to go on to our basil. Our basil is going to be 2 teaspoons of dried basil. So we have 1, 2, and I think I've told y'all this before, but this is my own grown and dehydrated basil, so really nice strong flavor of basil. To this, I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of sugar. Now, I like, because of where I'm at, the San Marzano tomatoes, but you use what you like. Now, if yours are very acidic, you may want to add 2 teaspoons of sugar instead of the 1. I do this because they're not sweet, but they're not acidic either, so this and the salt really balances it out. Alright, anyway, so to this, we're also going to add oregano of 3/4 teaspoon. I'm going to do 1/2 teaspoon of salt, and I'm using the Celtic salt for this. You will want to taste this later on and see if it's where you like it. And then you want to add, I grind mine, peppercorns, and put it in this jar. You're going to add 1/2 teaspoon of black pepper, whether it's freshly ground or not, doesn't really matter. Obviously, if it's freshly ground, it will have a stronger flavor. Yeah, so 1/2 teaspoon. So this is our spice mix. And I'm going to put things up, and I'll be right back. Okay. To my pot pan, it's not quite a pan, but it's not really a pot. I've added 1 tablespoon of olive oil. Now, I don't generally use a lot of olive oil. Most of the ones I've found that I've tried have given me really bad heartburn, and my husband. So today I'm trying a different one. I'm not sponsored, but I'm trying this, and we'll see how it goes. So, no sponsors. We want to heat our oil, and then once this is good and heated, and you see it should have a slight shimmer to it, moves around freely, you are going to saute up some onions. Like I said, I'm using 1.5 cups of finely diced onions. So I'm going to saute those until they are nice and translucent and soft. And then I'll bring you back when I put my onions in. Okay, so my oil is heated. Took about 30-45 seconds. I'm on a medium heat. That's what I generally tend to do most things on. I don't do high. I don't want to scorch on or burn. So, medium heat. And then if you don't know how to saute, basically you're just putting whatever you're sauteing up into your pan with some oil of your choice. Or depending on the recipe, it may call for something specific, but even then it's really still your meal. Okay, you're just going to toss this around, make sure that you see that it's nice and coated in your oil, and then you don't have to babysit it, but you don't want to walk away either, because you do need to slightly keep everything moving in your pan, or in this case a pan pot. So I'm going to saute these up, and then once I see that they're translucent, because I'm not caramelizing, I just want them to soften and become not quite clear, but you'll notice that they do fade a lot in color, and at that point, I'll bring you back. That's when I'm going to add my tomato sauce. So we'll be right back. Okay, so our onions have lightened in color a lot, and they are ready to be introduced to the tomato sauce. So all you want to do is pour your tomato sauce into your pan. And if you do scrape it down like I do, be careful. Don't run this across your blade, because if those blades are sharp, you're going to cut into your spatula. I just take it and go around the blades, and I stick this, as you know, press down onto the side of the actual blender jug. So I've got this in. You're going to stir this, move those onions throughout your tomatoes. And then next thing you want to do is add that seasoning mix that we put together. And we're going to stir this in. Now your tomatoes will start to bubble. Once they start to bubble, you do not want these to boil aggressively. Tomatoes splatter everywhere. So what I do is I set my lid on crooked so that it can breathe well all the way around, but not enough to actually start condensation and then adding moisture into my tomatoes that I don't want in there. So you stir this, mix it. Once you have your bubble, you are going to set a timer for 18 minutes. Now you can start checking it around 15, and I do stir mine about every 2 to 3 minutes just to make sure that nothing's sitting on the bottom and trying to burn. So at 15 minutes, you can go ahead and check it. If it seems thick enough for you and you're happy with the flavor, so you're going to taste it as well. You're happy with the flavor, then go ahead and turn it off. All this is doing is cooking these spices and the onion into this. Now, I have not forgotten about my garlic. I'm not a fan of burnt garlic. I also don't like to overcook my garlic. I like the flavor of garlic, not to mention all the good benefits you get from garlic. And if you don't know about that, feel free to go research what good health benefits you can get from garlic. Anywho, so this is nice and combined, and it will start to bubble. At that point, I'm going to set my lid on crooked, and I'll set my timer for 18 minutes. And then, as you can see, I've got a little bubble going on. So, and I put my lid on like that, and I'm going to turn this down a little because that's a little bit bigger bubbles than I want. And then in 18 minutes, I'm going to take this off the heat. I'm going to taste it to see if it needs more salt. Salt should be the only thing that you need. Unless your tomato's extremely acidic, then go ahead and add that extra teaspoon of sugar. At that point, I will be stirring in my garlic, and then get the garlic good and incorporated and turn it off. You can use immediately, or you can store this in an airtight container. I use jars. I've never kept it in the refrigerator for longer than a week, so I can't honestly tell you past that. I do know that you can can up your spaghetti sauce, but we're not canning, so yeah. Anyway, I hope that you give this a try. I hope you like it, and if you don't, then I hope you find the recipe that's out there for you. And as always, I hope you have a wonderful day.